And now let's all sing the International.
Tis the final conflict.
This is the original French of a famous socialist song, famous revolutionary song. The words were written in May 1871. The Paris Commune had fallen. A man, I think he was in his 40s at the time, had been elected mayor of one of the districts of Paris, but now he was fleeing for his life. He was in hiding. Eugène Portier, I think that's how he pronounced his name. And that very month of May, 1871, he writes 6 long verses and a chorus, calling on all the hard-working people of the entire world to overthrow their masters. And he was quite confident that they would, soon. A few years later, the book happens into the hands of a younger man, Pierre de Jeter. He led a chorus in his factory. And I'm told in a basement apartment on his pump organ, he made up a melody. This young musician had a hit song, at least in certain circles. It spread throughout France, it spread throughout Europe. They translated it in dozens of languages, maybe hundreds for all I know. It was sung all around the world, still is, by socialists, communists, anarchists. All sorts of people sing this song.
The International, well, it was tremendously exciting, and you know, have the clenched fist. We'd had these huge parades every May Day, but at every meeting you'd open and close it with that.
It was sung at meetings, at demonstrations, at rallies. On May Day, for example, when people would march. And the May Day demonstrations had convinced me early on as a child that there would soon be socialism in the United States. The first May Day demonstration I ever went to had about 10,000 people marching into Union Square. The second demonstration I went to had 20,000 people marching into Union Square. The third had 40,000 people marching into Union Square. I therefore became convinced as I sat down with a pencil and paper that in a period of about 15 years, the whole population of the United States would be marching with the very same song, singing the International.
In 1912, it was sung in many different languages simultaneously by the strikers in Lawrence, Massachusetts. The famous strike led by the Wobblies. Big Bill Hayward came up there to speak for them. Nobody thought they could stick together. They had Irish and German and Italian and Polish and all. And they all sang in their own language this song. It became the official anthem of the Soviet Union in 1917.
Of course, I know this song from my childhood. It was the most popular from all songs in the world in Russia. We played, of course, in the revolution in our yard, and it was a big deal for us because our fathers and mothers sang this song. And for us, it was a big deal to repeat this song more and more.
The first time I met the International was as a young boy, 13 years old, in Tel Aviv. I recall the 1st of May in Haifa, where thousands and thousands of members of our movement, the Histadrut, marched throughout the city with red flags and banners, singing songs of work and labor. And the members of our kibbutz fought the exploiters and participated in strikes. And there were occasions to sing the International and hopefully to build a homeland and a country where the workers would be the people who would share the wealth of the country. So the International spoke to me as a Jew, as a Jewish person.
I woke up into this world and I knew the words of the song. It was sang to me actually like a lullaby. And I was a baby. I didn't know the difference between Brahms' lullaby and the Internationale. And somehow I loved the Internationale better than Brahms' lullaby. My father's name is Juan Feleo, and he was a teacher. And he used to speak to the landlord in behalf of the farmers. And eventually, he had about 60,000 farmers who would come and listen to him and bring their grievances. But he was all by himself. And then he heard the Internationale. And then he decided that he would translate it into Filipino so that everybody would understand that there is hope, that there is a way out of this bondage, that there is a way for the farmers to organize and be heard. And I could not understand why my father was arrested and eventually killed for this song. But the song is a song that can be heard in the rice fields. Young boys riding atop their carabaos, going down the river, women washing clothes, farmers doing harvest. This song will be sung.
I dropped out of high school in my senior year to go work in a cannery in San Jose to help organize a union, which we did. And a strike was called, which was totally destroyed as a result of extraordinary police terror. Every meeting was broken up, every outdoor demonstration was attacked and broken up. And then I went to the Imperial Valley in 1934 to help organize the migratory lettuce pickers at that point. I was arrested and spent 180 days in the Imperial Valley Jail. And one of the ways in which I passed the time was teaching my fellow prisoners how to sing radical songs. The strikers were part of that generation of Mexicans who had grown up with the Mexican Revolution, so that both the strikers and then the women prisoners also knew the International in Spanish. It was just kind of an immediate means of communication, of identification across language barriers, across country barriers, this song that bridged all the countries of the world.
People everywhere were suffering from the Depression. There was real starvation everywhere in the world. In some countries, like in Germany, fascism began. It was ruled by brute military force, and based on this demagoguery,